Hello everyone, this is the Driver 1970. I want to talk about the concealed carry. Um, and maybe sometime later on in this video I will it'll explain to you how you can legally own a Class 3 firearm. But um, first of all, I want to say that in my first video I said that the House Bill 148 was in the court system. That isn't the case. The the National Rifle Association and the Illinois State Rifle Association, with the lead plaintiff of Mary Shepard, um, is filing a federal lawsuit against the state of Illinois to put an end on the ban on right to carry. Um, the bill right now is right now the I won't say the bill, but there's a hearing at Thursday at 10 a.m. Just to hear it. Probably won't be a decision right away, but once they hear it, they will make a decision. I think they probably have up to 90 days. I don't hold me to that. I'm not really sure yet. Um, but yes, representatives of states such as the governor and the attorney general will do all they can to prevent Illinois from becoming a right to carry state, because they feel that more important people should have protection instead of the little guy, such as us average citizens. Um, anyway, the reason why I say this is because the the as far as Mary Shepard is concerned, I said she's the lead plaintiff because she was she, along with a fellow church worker, were victims of a heinous battery. Um, a known criminal who was a career felon and had no respect for the law. At 3 p.m., she uh, some guy broke into church, and I think he broke into church. I don't want to get that. I don't want to try not to get anything wrong in the story, but from what I've read, um, her and her church worker were beaten senselessly, almost to death. Um, there are pictures of her at IllinoisCarry.com, and the pictures of her are very graphic. Um, Cuts and bruises all over her face, and she will be having those memories for the rest of her life, unfortunately. And had she had a firearm with her, she would have been able to defend herself properly. And this last bill, House Bill 148, um, I've went to a couple of town hall meetings. Um, there may be a third one coming up. I gotta look at it and see what's going on there. I'm pretty sure that there are some other state representatives that are not holding meetings now because they say now they're concerned that us gun owners, legal gun owners, will go to their meetings and fill up their meetings and everything else. Well, you know what? We have a right to be there, just like the people, just like the state representatives' constituents, because in general, we all pay their salary. If you're an Illinois resident, or you pay taxes in income taxes in the state, you do finance their salaries. Or I should say, we all do finance their salaries, in case anybody says differently. Um, and of course, another thing too is concealed carry is very good for domestic violence victims. Um, reason being is because quite a few domestic violence victims um, with Raniel White, who comes to mind because in Chicago at the time, Chicago had the quote unquote Chicago handgun ban, illegal Chicago handgun ban. She was not able to defend herself. Although, yes, the city paid a price to, I think, $18 million. I think it was. Um, although my personal opinion, she it could. Although I was living in the city, I believe at the time, I think she should have gotten a much higher price. Although that isn't going to bring Roniel back, unfortunately. But I think the family of Roniel White should have gotten a lot more than that. Um, the only thing I have to say about that is domestic violence need some kind of leverage against their attackers, whether it be their estranged boyfriends, estranged husbands, or what have you. Women need protection. It's just the way. It's just the way it is. Women cannot defend themselves as good as men can. Men, it's basically whatever the case might be. Women are much different. They can be very timid. Um, Not saying I'm an expert at women, but I do live with three women. I grew up with three sisters. Um, and of course, women in general do need something to protect themselves with. And of course, the leverage of playing field could be a firearm or could be anything else of that matter. But the reason why I say a firearm is because you get trained with it and everything. You get trained, know the ins and outs of a firearm, know that firearm inside and out, take it apart, put it back together again, know the laws on the use of force, when to use force, when not to use force, and stuff like that. Um, anyway, so certain people think that citizens should not have concealed carry. Concealed carry. Well, I for one am a concealed carry holder from the state of Florida. I have I have reciprocity in 31 states. Wisconsin will be 32 as of November 1st. Um, and like I said, women in general do need self-defense. They need something to equal the playing field. Of course, these anti-gun people want to go for more gun control laws. Gun control laws only control people. The law-abiding doesn't control the criminals. Never has, never will, because criminals do not give a damn about the law. That's why they're called criminals. And if anybody should happen to share my video or link my video to someone who is anti-gun, does not believe it, fine, no big deal. Hopefully they'll get a little bit of an education out of this. Read the statistics. Read the FBI crime reports. It's a fact of life. Yes, while there are laws that protect women, like they say, get a restraining order. Well, you know what? That's what Roniel White got. Unfortunately, that didn't work for her. She paid with her life. She got a restraining order against her husband. Her husband still came over and killed her. He slashed her tires, making it impossible for her to travel anywhere. She called 911, not once, not twice, but 5 times. 5 times, that's disgusting. No one should have to call 911 5 times and explaining what the hell is going on. And of course, unfortunately, Um, if she would have been allowed to defend herself, she would have been. She could be alive. She could be alive. Now, considering the fact that um, women, women could be uh, every 3 seconds, according to statistics, women could be battered, murdered, and just uses. In general, just uses a punching bag by their significant others just because they want to. Is domestic violence a sickness? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And it just doesn't. It does not just include women. It does men as well, because women do beat men as well. Yes, women do beat men as well. Although it's primarily men beating women, basically. Um, now, this now these anti-gun people who are against concealed carry or against guns in general. Why? I have no idea. They think that, well, let the police protect you. As a matter of fact, that's what I heard from uh, a couple of town hall. As a matter of fact, the town hall meeting I was at in Highland Park, Karen May was hosting a town hall meeting. Some of her constituents say, "Well, let's let the police take care of it." Well, had I had a piece of paper printed out that the about the Court of Appeal ruling that um, the police have no legal duty or obligation to protect you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is correct. The District of Columbia versus Warren. Um, Ms. Warren was one of the victims, was one of 3 victims that was held against her will for about 16 hours, 14 to 16 hours, made to do rather disgusting acts, all sexually in comparison. They were tortured, beaten, robbed, and everything else you could almost imagine. Um, like I said, the police have no legal duty or obligation. As a matter of fact, um, the late William Rehnquist, Chief Justice of the United States Supreme Court, has also affirmed his statement to that ruling. Um, I guess they were pretty much going to go to the Supreme Court with it, and he said no. Um, yes, it was. Yes, it was terrible what the things happened to you. However, um, it is your duty to protect. It is your duty to protect yourself. The police are there to do one thing, and that's protect the general populace. That's what they're there for. Yes, we pay them out of our tax dollars, out of our property taxes. However, does not mean we get individual protection. The individual protection belongs in sole responsibility of the person. Now, you can get a bodyguard, of course, a personal protection specialist to protect you. But thing is, can you afford it? Most of us couldn't afford. I couldn't afford it. But when the but when these politicians like Quinn and all these mayors who have bodyguards and county board chairman or county board presidents, wherever they are, have bodyguards, and they feel, well, we're important enough. Our constituents be damned. They shouldn't have to do anything. It's wrong, as far as I'm concerned. Concealed carry is why it exists in the first place, because so citizens can take responsibility for their own safety and security. People need to take responsibility for their own safety and security, because when you think about suing the police because they didn't get there in time, unfortunately, They're not there to. They're not there to protect you individually. It's that simple. The courts have ruled on it. Although, in that same time, in that same court ruling, um, some things were found in the three plaintiffs' favor. In the three plaintiffs' favor. Um, I don't know exactly what it was. I did read some into it, but they had. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. So, um, yeah, we pay our property taxes, and what you get is what you pay for, unfortunately. But when you see someone with a T-shirt that says "When seconds count, police are just minutes away," well, unfortunately, that's not just a cute saying. That's also a fact. And you just have to live with your own decision in wanting to protect yourself. Because the person who's responsible for your own safety is you. You're the only one that's responsible for your own safety. Now, as far as me saying owning a machine gun or a Class 3 firearm is concerned, if you live outside of Illinois, such as Wisconsin or Indiana or 36 other states that allow civilians to own Class 3 firearms, there is a form called the Form 4. Filled it out in duplicate. That has to be filled out. Basically, you may want to do it through a gun dealer. Matter of fact, you go through a gun dealer, they can explain all the legal steps you have to go through. You must be fingerprinted. You must get 2 fingerprint cards and take and submit 2 fingerprints. Why? I have no idea. That's the way they want it. Then you gotta fill out, and of course, you gotta pay a one-time fee of $200. And of course, the Form 4 must be signed by the chief. Must be signed by the chief of police. Of course, they're gonna run a background check on you. There's gonna be at least 3 or 4 people are gonna be running a background check on you before it's all said and done. However, owning a machine gun or a Class 3 firearm is a rather lengthy process. First of all, after all this, and of course you have to take a picture. And they send a picture down to ATF. Once ATF approves you, they send your registration back to. They send your firearm registration back to the dealer where you filled it out at. The dealer will give you a phone call saying today's the day. Go and you have to. And of course, oh yes, by the way, after they do a background check on you, there's another background check you have to go through. It's called the Brady Law. Yes, the Brady Law. You also have to fill out a Form 4473. With that in mind, you have to wait the waiting period. When you get the gun, you cannot get the gun until you go through the Brady Law. Even though you had to wait almost a half a year to get the damn Form 4, the Form 4, the registration paper from ATF, you also have to fill out a Form 4473. They also have to do what they call a NICS check. If you are unlicensed, if you're a federally licensed collector, that's not necessary. But they are still required to get one. They're still required to do a Form 4473 on you. If you're not a non-licensee, they have to you basically execute a 4473, like I said. In fact, if I can, I think I have one right behind me. I'm not really sure. Let me look. Okay. Do I have one here? Yes, I do. Okay. This right here is a Form 4473. I have a case of these. This is a firearms transaction record form. Got to fill out everything on this form. No abbreviations. The ATF will reject it. If you fill out this form, question letter A, you have to answer all the questions on here. There's one on here for straw purchasing. If they ask you if you're the actual buyer of said firearm, you mark yes. The transaction can proceed. If no, transaction cannot proceed. It's what they call a straw purchase. It's basically straw purchase is for when a person who can legally buy a firearm for someone who cannot legally possess or own a firearm, such as if the person's got a felony or misdemeanor domestic violence conviction. And also on this form as well is you have to fill all the stuff out on the front here, and then the dealer does the rest. He or she will fill out information regarding what it is, other firearm. You can see right there. That's kind of, I'll just scan it up and down a little bit real quick here. And of course, this form is official because it does have an OMB inventory control number on it, which means if it has this particular number on it, there's this particular number where I got my finger pointed to right here. It's got that OMB number. OMB stands for Office of Management and Budget. If it's got that number on it, it's an official form from the government. Now, when, like I said, everything is all filled out here, then alternate identification if your state has that program. They do a NICS check. If you're non-licensee, do you do a NICS check? If it says proceed, then they proceed. They put proceed date, and they put an let me see here. If it proceed, the transaction proceeds, put the NICS or state transaction number on here. They put an approval number on there, and when you come in complete the transaction, you pick up the firearm. You have to sign it twice. Once when you purchase it and you come in with the paperwork. Second time when you go and pick it up. Yes. After 6 months, you waited for 6 months. Don't ask me why you have to wait another 3. Don't ask me why you would have to wait another 3 days, because if you were to do it, like say for example, if Illinois allowed law-abiding citizens to own machine guns or other Class 3 firearms, they let me see here. They will make you wait another 3 days. Actually 72 hours. That is the waiting period for a handgun. The thing is, what handguns is, if you can, now the eligibility for a handgun, for a Class 3 firearm or a machine gun is, if you can own a handgun in the state of Illinois, if you can own a handgun, you can own a machine gun. It's that simple. Now, I do have a printed out form 4, which is the use tax on a transferable firearm, what they call a transferable um, weapons, so to speak. Um, my personal opinion is you shouldn't even have it. It's your constitutional right to own a firearm, period. I mean, yeah, they make you pay a $200 tax. Well, basically, it's the way the government's saying we want to make it a little harder for you. Well, if you don't have a criminal record, I can't see why they should make it hard for you. I mean, if people want to, they can get guns illegally. However, for a person who wants to keep a clean record, they would get for the most part, they go through the legit means, such as a dealer and everything else. So, when people start, you know, when that debate comes up to the floor, or actually when that case comes up where we can own a machine gun and everything else. Hopefully that could come soon. Um, however, it's just one of those things where you can't win for losing with bureaucrats, especially those who are against guns. Like I said, 6 months to about 6 months about turnaround time for Form 4. Filling that one out. The other one, the copy comes back with the tax stamp on it and everything else, and your picture on the registration form, with all the information on the firearm and everything else. Then they have to do a next check. They have to execute a Form 4473 plus fingerprints and all this other stuff. Now, there's another way they can do it too as well. That's what they call going through a trust. A trust requires less paperwork. Doesn't require not require fingerprint cards. Does not require a It doesn't require a photograph either. It does require a $200 tax stamp though. It does require Form 4473 after it's all said and done. That's after you get that's after the dealer gets your copy of your registration paper back and says now we have to execute a Form 4473. Now, if you are a licensed gun collector, that's a different story. Then they can just hand you through the process. However, you still have to get the form. You still have to fill out the Form 4 for a machine gun. So, and of course, Illinois does not allow civilian ownership of machine guns. Although that may change soon as well. Until then, have a great day.